Hello, and welcome to A Parent's Guide to Growing Successful Readers and Writers. This week, we will be focusing on the emergent stage of development. We will discuss what it means to be in this stage of development, who is included in this stage, and what you can do to support your emergent stage readers and writers to help them grow as learners. Let's begin by talking about what is the emergent stage. Emergent stage readers and writers are typically young children, about 3 to 5 years of age, who have not been formally taught how to read and write. These learners are not reading and writing in a conventional sense because they have little to no sound symbol relationships memorized. Early emergent students will mark on a page but have incorrectly formed letters and numbers in a seemingly random order. As they progress through the emergent stage, the random scribbles transform into linear movement across the page. We will be focusing on identifying and supporting emergent readers in the first few slides and then move on to emergent writers. Let's begin with our emergent readers. It is important to understand the why behind this stage. These children are typically in the pre-alphabetic stage of reading development. This means that a child can identify a few words, but mainly looks for non-alphabetic cues to guide them through reading. The iconic golden arches represents McDonald's, and the red octagonal shape represents a stop sign. They may recognize stores or signs from exposure to them and their shape or coloring, but not actually from reading. Moving from the why of the emergent stage to the how, we see that these readers are either pretend reading or reading from memory. Children who are pretend reading are making up stories that go along with illustrations in a book and typically sound like a narrative dialogue. Memory readers may be trickier to spot because they are reading with more exact words on each page, but they can be spotted if you ask them to touch the words as they read each page. Moving from the why and the how, let's take a look at the development that you should see through this stage. Directionality, or the ability to realize that words move left to right and up to down, is something that grows significantly in the emergent stage. Once the concept of word and text is mastered by being able to accurately track words across the page with one's finger, the reader may be ready to move to the letter name alphabetic stage of development. Moving right along to emergent stage writers, it is also important to understand the why behind this stage. Writers have not had the opportunity to develop their phonemic awareness yet, and are just starting to be exposed to matching letters to sounds. Unlike speaking, reading and writing need to be explicitly taught. Learners at this stage are just starting to be taught how to hold a pencil, the directionality of writing, left to right, top to bottom, and sound symbol correspondence. In order to transition to the next stage, writers must know how some letters and sounds agree with each other and how to write the letters. Moving on to the how of emergent writers, we can see how they are putting pen to paper. These children are still largely in a pretend phase of writing. They cannot designate sounds to a specific symbol, so they must learn to differentiate that a drawing does not equal a word, and from there, that random scribbles also do not represent words. This pretend writing is often referred to as mock linear, due to its mirroring the left to right concept of writing English. This picture from the book Words Their Way shows the evolution of emergent writers. Moving along, we're going to look at the development of emergent writers. As students begin to learn the tools of proper writing, they begin to progress through the stage. Early emergent writers lack letter or directionality, but are learning how to hold a pencil and how to make marks on a page. Middle emergent writers lack phonemic awareness, but have learned how to write from left to right, with marks being distinct from their pictures. By the late emergent stage, writers are writing some letters and using sound symbol correspondence, but still lack complete phonemic awareness. This would be a good place for you to pause and look over the chart to see where your child falls before learning the best practices of support. Support for emergent readers will give them the confidence to grow their abilities. Here are some great ways to reinforce good reading strategies. First, interactive read-alouds with print referencing. This is where you enthusiastically read a book to your child and point to each word as you read. This teaches them where to start, what direction they should go, and prosody, which is the expression and intonation of your voice as you read. As they progress in their abilities, you can start doing shared readings. This is where you read a line and have your child recite it back to you. These both create openings for you to talk about the book and its content with your child. Next, support for emergent writers. Offering them good support will also increase their confidence and ability. First is demonstrations and modeling. It is important that as their parents, you are demonstrating your ability to write with your child. It could be as simple as sounding out your grocery list while you're writing it, or dictating a story that your child describes to you. This models to your children where you should start writing, which direction you should go, and how letters and sounds go together. Next, we move on to journals. Journals are a great place where your child can draw and practice writing, or where you can model words for them to trace and rewrite. Journals also offer a great way to track your child's progress throughout their childhood. Finally, as we wrap up this episode of A Parent's Guide to Growing Successful Readers and Writers, it is important that while teaching your child to read and write, it might be stressful, but always to remember to keep it fun. Encouragement and praise will keep both of your spirits up as you move and grow on this journey together. Remember, repetition is key. Find out what kind of practice works for your family and keep doing it. Tune in next week when we explore the next stage of development, letter name alphabetic stage. And remember, today a reader, tomorrow a leader.